morning. It's July 18th. I'm going to be doing a reading for the United States and the world, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically. And if you're just here for the current events, I will timestamp where those will begin after we do the warm-up reading, so to speak. If you're new here, my name is Susanna. I'm a Clair-Intuitive. I get messages from my spirit team and God source mentally, visually, and feeling wise. And these readings have been really helpful for me. I hope they've been helpful for you. A lot of the things that that we've been talking about as being potentially coming have happened. This is just a tumultuous time we signed up for to be here on this planet, and it is certainly a new shock every single day. So I hope you're doing well, and I hope this reading will support you. Let's get to it. So, God Source, give us a card that will help us understand the energy right now spiritually. And this is a thing we don't always notice, the spiritual influences. I think they can be really affected by things like the shaman resonance, or Schumann resonance, probably saying that wrong, and sun flares and things from the astral spheres that we don't really recognize yet in this timeline. They're reminding me, I read something this week that said that we wish peace and healing in every timeline. And that feels very true in the spiritual sense right now, that there's so many potential timelines for our world, for our countries, for individuals, just down to the micro level, that taking a moment to send peace and love along all those potential timelines, I think that's a beneficial exercise. So thank you for that. All right, give us a card spiritually. Discernment, truth, and clarity. Yep, that's exactly the message. Discernment, truth, and clarity. Here it is. God Source, what else do you want to say about timelines? They're really talking about timelines today. I'm just seeing her hair kind of as a timeline. And even the pulling away of the veil as seeing something clearly. This card has a lot of energy this morning. This feels like they are my spirit team through me speaking with you wherever you are, whenever you see this, would like to forewarn is strong. Foreknowledge is not exact. They'd like to suggest. They'd like to gently suggest that the timelines that we're living in, each of us individually and in the world sense, are very mutable right now, and that doing the spiritual work can have a real outcome. So sending peace along a certain timeline, for example, they're wanting me to come up with one. I have this little knot under my shoulder that I've been worrying about. One timeline would be that it's completely nothing. Another timeline would be it's something scary. Don't worry, I'm going to get it checked out. But I would hold that timeline of something scary and say, God Source, I breathe peace and nullification into that outcome. It will not be so. I close off that potential timeline, and I put all of my energy into it resolving quickly and peacefully with no further issues. So there's just an idea. Think about the timelines in your life individually. Think about the timelines for the world, and consider putting energy into the ones that don't serve your highest good and putting energy into the ones that do. And I like that verbiage around all that. So yeah, discernment, truth, and clarity. As all of the events of the world, the clarity is coming out. Take a minute. They're suggesting to do a little bit of spiritual hygiene and clean up all of the timelines that don't serve you. All right. Emotionally, what is going on in the world right now? Emotionally. There's a cardinal right outside my window. Emotionally. How are we all feeling? Overwhelmed? Overwhelmed. That's what I'm getting. All right, there they said. Oh, spiritual protection, the armor of God. Yeah. We're all feeling like we need to be armored up. I've gotten this card before. What else do you want me to see that's in this card today? The bombarding, they're really pulling me to the helmet. You see the helmet right there? Right there. The bombardment into our brains with the news cycles and the constant discouraging news can be really, really hard on us. And they're actually really pulling me to the face mask. I don't know if you look again at that. See how the face mask right there. See how it's open? And that feels really relevant because in a way it's acting as blinders, right? So you're all, and this headgear is all covered up like this, but you can still see out clearly. And so if we choose to, we can focus on the things right in front of us, the things that actually matter, and close out the noise, all of the media noise, all of the things like that. And this was in the emotional state. So yeah, I think that's the message. Emotionally, be aware of the tumult and pull it in to focus just what's right in front of you. Mentally. I've had this sort of persistent headache right behind my eye, right here. What is going on mentally? They're reminding me, I had this day yesterday where I was incredibly productive and dialed in, and they're wanting me to think about what it was because I was curious about what I was working on. I had a real curiosity and interest. Think about maybe what are you curious about mentally? Maybe spend some time with that this week. Judas, Catalyst and Soul Contracts. Oh, this card. This card. So this is a card we're talking about mentally, where soul contracts and the things that we signed up for individually when we decided to come into this life space to incarnate, are really playing out and are really being brought to a head. And so, and I do not greet this card with fear. They've gotten on to me about that before. Before, when I've gotten this card, it usually heralds some conflict in terms of my family relationships or some other soul contract that I'm personally trying to learn in my life. I'm sure you've got your own you're trying to learn. Those are never fun because it's like this big blind spot and we just keep doing the same things over again until one day we finally get it. So I'm just going to say a prayer. God Source, thank you for this heralding of events coming into our life that involve the difficult lessons around soul contracts, and send your angels, your spirits, your guardian angels to myself, everyone who's watching this. Surround them with your nurturing and your clarity that we would all be able to see those patterns that don't serve us anymore and make different choices. So that's my prayer on this. What else do you want me to see in terms of foreshadowing into the future mentally? Okay, so this is a card of betrayal, actually. And this feels political to me. I know we'll get to the political stuff. I didn't really want to read on Trump, but this is straight up a betrayal to him. And the crosses are there in the back, which is like sort of a graveyard of sorts, it feels like. Yeah, a betrayal. And they're pulling me into the fact that in the story of Judas, as when Judas betrays Jesus in the story in the Bible, it was kind of an impulsive, at least the way it's written down. Of course, the Bible was written by men. But the story of Judas, the way it's written down, if I remember it correctly, is he didn't plan to betray Jesus. It was an impulsive decision, and it was, if I remember right, as I'm just in Judas's energy, he felt slighted, he felt overlooked, or he felt in that dynamic, he felt passed over, and he impulsively went to the Roman authorities, I think, and turned Jesus, said, "Here's where he is. Here's where Jesus is." And the story, the folklore, I'm not even sure this is in the Bible, is that he wound up unaliving himself over that decision. I'm not sure about that, but this idea of impulsivity around a betrayal in our current POTUS's life has a lot of energy, and it, unlike kind of what we've seen with the vice president, the Project 25, the Teal group, where they kind of have had this big agenda, and when POTUS doesn't serve it anymore, he maybe this betrayal feels very impulsive and close to him, and one he didn't expect. So that's interesting. So this does not feel like a figure that we would expect to spill the beans, and all the coins are here on the ground. Just spill it all out. So that's interesting. All right, mentally. So we're going to be challenged with our own soul contracts, but also in the political sphere, there may be a surprise revelation by someone who we wouldn't expect. Imagine who that would be, but it doesn't matter physically. All right, this is the thing that's right in our world. I think I wanted to ask about weather when I did the current events, so I won't ask about that. What physically, what is going to be going on in our world physically? Jesus and Mary Magdalene shared mission. Okay, God Source, what do you want to say about our physical spaces mentally that has to do with the shared mission? And this is the card with the geese on it. This is speaking to, they're just pulling me to the closeness of in this card, Jesus and Mary. They're not. This is hysterical. Oh my gosh, look at this again. All right. Okay, do you see how he's holding her? I don't know, in this moment that I'm filming this, there's just been this big outcry over the CEO of Astronomer, I don't even know what this company is, and his head of HR going to a Coldplay concert, and they got caught on the Jumbotron doing this. They both have other spouses. So what, all right, hang on. There's something here. What are you trying to tell us physically? You were drawing me to the fact that they are just glued to each other when there's the whole vast world behind them, and they're hanging on tight. This is not about the CEO. I just think it's an interesting synchronicity. When Spirit does that, it's kind of funny. It makes me laugh. Thank you for the laugh. This almost feels like these two individuals, again, not the CEO, but these two individuals in the card, which are metaphors or representative of all of us on this. It's like I keep seeing like an iceberg and two people on it like clinging to each other, and it's like tossing around like this. So I think the bigger message for us is to hang on to your people tight. Your people you trust, your people you can lean on, your people you know will fly across the country with you and do their fair share of the effort to get there this next week. Keep your energy close and don't physically be tossing it away. Stability, be stable, be stable and leaning on each other like bookends, almost like this. So all right, so there's the energetic reading. We got new truths are coming out, new timelines. Lean into the timelines that are the best for you and for your highest good, and be aware that revelations in our world can really shake our foundations, but we have control in that we can believe into the best things. We can believe into the best things, and then emotionally, just pull your focus in, shield yourself from all the news. And I'm getting a lot of chills on that, actually, in that moment. It's going to be a lot of news coming, this feels like, and we're pulling in here. And then the soul contracts, of course, we're all being asked to learn the lessons that we signed up for to come here. And that's on the agenda this next week too. And then lastly, the joint message physically. Lean on the people you can really trust. And the whole energy of this reading is kind of pulling in your resources to the micro, if you can. Just pulling in your resources, doing the things that you know are good for you, and blocking out all the other things, because the tumult is real. Just got that claircognitively. The tumult is real. What do you want to say about that? The tumult is real. They're saying, and I'm getting this claircognitively, which means it's kind of like a trance channel. Words just kind of start coming to me. I don't hear them. It's just they're there. They're just right in my head, and they aren't words that I would use. So that's when I know. What do you want to say about the tumult and gaslighting? They're saying that the tactics of gaslighting us and telling us you don't see what what is the saying they're giving it? Your eyes don't see what your eyes see. Your lion eyes, don't trust your lion eyes. That must be a saying of some sort. But it's a statement of gaslighting. That in this next week, how far out? Like weeks. They're saying weeks. There's going to be a lot of things that are being revealed, which will be told are not true, but we see them with our own eyes. And they want me to look this up. Hang on. Don't trust your lying eyes. What is that from? Don't trust your lying eyes. Meaning. The phrase, don't believe your lying eyes, means that something is so surprising, unexpected, and goes against a previous belief that it's hard to accept it as true. It suggests that perception may be wrong, or that someone is trying to mislead you, encouraging you to doubt what you see. The quote is often credited to Groucho Marx, but it's actually his brother, Chico Marx, who said something similar. Richard Pryor later used the phrase in a stand-up routine, joking about being caught with another woman by his wife and saying, who are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes? Expressions often used when something unbelievable happens, someone is trying to gaslight you, that's what they were saying, or you're questioning your own perception. Wow, okay. So this was the energetic reading. This wasn't even the political reading. So, well, as my good friend always says, forewarned is forearmed. And they're suggesting a steel helmet may be the best choice to arm up this in the next coming weeks. So we'll just see what happens. And remember to put energy into those good timelines and don't give your energy to fear. Don't give your energy to fear and believe your own eyes. And I'm going to be listening for people to tell me that what I see is not what I see. And that has a lot of energy. All right. Politically. I will timestamp it here. If you're just joining us for the political reading, we actually got into a little bit of political stuff in the energetic part. You may want to go back and watch that. It's always a nice warm-up for me to tune into my team and get my clair senses back online in terms of how I interpret the message that I'm getting. Okay, so politically, I was pulling out my driveway yesterday and I got the word Khomeini, which I looked up and is related to the supreme ruler of ARAN. And I will just try not to use that word a lot. So I got a little taxed on the Middle East stuff, so I haven't been following it directly, but I know that the conflict with Israel and Iran is real. We helped bomb their alleged nuclear facilities. And there's this question about the Straits of Hormuz, which is actually what they're bringing up again with me this morning. So I'd like to, oh, right, and they've issued some sort of a, I'm not going to say it out loud, but some sort of a death threat to POTUS. And this all has the feel of theater. And so they brought up Khomeini. He does not feel like he's in the room, like the power room, like the decisions are being made and he is outside of the power room. And so he's issuing these, so he's acting a bit on his own. And I'm remote viewing into him. It's a bit of a clairsentience where I can feel, and sometimes I get visuals to go with it. And so the last act of a dying animal is what they're saying. So the energy here is that when you're cornered, you might act more extremely than you would if you were able to be working with other power brokers. So his energy is feeling very isolated and radical and impulsive again. Did we talk about impulsive? Yes, we did talk about impulsive in the energy reading. The betrayal. Okay. So, God Source, what are you wanting us to know about the current leader of Iran in terms of how that will affect us in the next couple weeks? I've always felt that if he could manage to close the Straits of Hormuz, he would. And this erratic energy, okay, so let's just ask about that first. Will he close the Straits of Hormuz, which would affect our oil markets, which would affect the world? Purity, return to innocence. What do you want? The question was, will he close the Straits of Hormuz? This is a no card. I'm pretty sure what I'm feeling is that the child is holding a lamb, and there's a feeling of abundance and plenty, and they're drawing me to the pasture here. So this is a no. This feels like a no. He does not have the ability to do that. So he's very isolated. Okay, will he or one of his or someone motivated by his death threat make an attempt on our unfortunate POTUS's? And I also got that betrayal card. Will this one individual, not the power brokers that I'm picking up on, this one individual, Khomeini, be responsible for a attempt on our POTUS? Pilgrimaging onward steps. Pilgrim, yeah. Can you see that? There you go. I know a lot of you are Clair-Intuitive, so I should have said as I pull these cards, please let me know what you get, or if you get anything strong from the reading. I love your comments, and I'm able to respond to them, so please do let me know what you think and how you're feeling. Yes, he's going to attempt to send someone on a pilgrimage. It literally says pilgrimage on the side, onward steps. What do you want? Do you want? Will that be successful? I don't think so. They're just drawing me to the fact that the stones in these steps are really, it's a bit of an arduous task. It's a bit of a difficult task. Now, one thing that does have energy is if, from our energy reading, if this betrayal comes into play. But that felt more about information, spilling the beans. But information could help this be successful. So I'm going to say no. Well, I guess the answer is yes, there will be an attempt. I think it's unlikely to be successful. Although there's another path. They're showing me this other path. I don't think it's 100%. I think this is one of these fractured timelines that we got in the energy reading that is not quite decided yet. My hands are getting cold. Happens when I'm sitting in the energy. Yeah. I'm just going to leave it at, I think there'll be an attempt. So that is originated with Khomeini and the situation in the Middle East. All right. Those cards have a lot of energy. All right. Okay. Next thing I want to look at is the U.S. The markets. It's crazy. Markets are absolutely bananas. All of the financial indicators are. We should be not experiencing. I think the economists are even calling it a melt up instead of a meltdown. So, I mean, the idea there is that something's a little bit out of control or nonsensical, or the stock market is going gangbusters. So I just want to know, because they had told me before, we pulled cards on the dollar before, and they said it would be stable through the end of August. So I want to know in September, in the fall, is the stock market going to continue to melt up? Let's just start there. The stock market going to continue to melt up. Wisdom Bringer, Earth School. Oh my gosh, another soul contract card. Okay. These are, I know we all of us who work in the spiritual realms, the psychic realms, the intuitive realms have known that July was going to be tumultuous. So they gave me that word before, tumultuous, and certainly the energy reading cards really pointed that out. But now we've gotten two soul contract earth school cards, which speak to lessons, and this is related to, the question was around the stock market, and this is related to our lessons and greed. To me, this feels like greed. And so Wisdom Bringer Earth School, soul lessons. I'm not getting that the markets, the financial situation are going to fail in September, or they're going to fall off a cliff. And if they do fall off a cliff, it feels like there is a timeline for that. Again, this card has all kinds of timelines in it. It would be because the greed has been exposed, the malfeasance, the financial malfeasance has been exposed, where we as a collective can say we don't want to do that. We don't want to. And this actually feels related to the cutting of a lot of our like the cutting of the funding for PBS, and what do we really care about? And the financial stability is related to that, in that it would be a part of our soul contracts to say we want money spent on healthcare. We want money spent here on education. We want our tax dollars to be spent on these things because they matter to us. And there could be a disruption in the markets that would cause that, but it would be a response. So, yeah, they feel pretty stable to me, which I can't, in my human, I'm like, that can't be true. Whole thing's got to fall apart. But that's what that card is saying to me. So, weather, I want to look at this extreme weather. Oh my goodness. When I first started pulling these cards weekly, that was one of the first messages that I got, was that we were going to have water, earthquakes, potential blackouts, and there was this idea of satellites going down, that I started to pick back up on, this idea that our satellites, our communication grids might go down, and it could be weather related. It could be astral, like what is that called, that comes through like an asteroid, I guess, and so I wanted to pull some cards about our current extreme weather, and whether this is a new cycle, weather, there's a pun, weather is new, if this is the new normal, if this is a new cycle, and if that is going to lead to communication problems. So let's start with, is this extreme weather situation, I know we're just getting ready to go into hurricane season, and here in the U.S., our weather service has been cut back. A lot of really important services we're going to experience that. Wait, come on, card. We're going to experience that, decide what we really care about. So my question was, are these extreme weather events going to continue? And they're showing me an iceberg again. I got that in the energy reading too. There's a lot of bleed over this week between these two readings, the political and the spiritual. Iceberg? What are you trying to say about an iceberg? Calving, icebergs calving. I think I know that. I think that's when is that a word? Iceberg calving. There it is. Iceberg calving is a process where chunks of ice break off from glaciers, ice shelves, or icebergs. The natural phenomenon, also known as glacial calving, is a form of ice ablation, meaning it continues to melt. It contributes to the melting and loss of ice. These chunks of ice that break away are called icebergs. Cracks and crevices form, dividing the ice. then they break away. The entry of these ice blocks into the water can create waves. Iceberg-generated tsunamis. Contributes to sea level rise. Well, iceberg calving. Where would that be? Like in Scandinavia and Europe? Let's ask. Where are icebergs calving? Greenland and Antarctica. So pretty isolated areas, Greenland and Antarctica. Okay. All right, so the question was, let's just ask about that. Is an iceberg calving going to affect the world more greatly than normal? I guess it makes sense. I mean, we are in July. In the northern hemisphere, that's the warmest time. But in the southern hemisphere, that's the coldest time. So it would be that Greenland type area. Will iceberg calving affect us in the United States and Europe? Will iceberg calving affect the world significantly? Let's just say this year. Iceberg calving. Who knew? Yep. Awakening and transformation, Paul. Yep. I'm going to say yes. That's a yes card for me. You see that? Those of you who watch me all the time know this card can mean 100 different things. I get it all the time. It's always like a high energy card. It's always emphatic. And the card itself is about awakening and transformation and about Paul's journey on the road to Damascus. But behind him, if you see, that kind of looks like an iceberg there. And there's like little fractures. Okay, God source, am I reading this correctly? Are you suggesting that icebergs are going to be creating world events? Yeah, I mean, they're drawing me to his hand and the scroll. It's like a message coming. So I'm going to say yes. We might be seeing that in the news. And then our original question was, will this extreme weather events continue? Is this our new normal? I mean, here in the Ozarks, we've had so much rain and flooding. Of course, we're in a really isolated area without a lot of population. We had a horrific flood in 2017 that was actually more water flooding than what happened in Texas. I think it was 25 feet there. It was 30 feet for us. Wiped out our rivers, bridges, completely decimated our community. No one died. Thank you, God, because per square mile, I don't know, we're like 2 people per square mile or something like that. So, but it was a lot like Texas, and it happened in the middle of the night, and it was catastrophic damage. Houses, foundations, everything gone. And luckily people were able to get away and no one died. Then we just had flooding this year, and someone did die here in my little local community. So humans have always been incredibly good at adapting. I'm warming up my hands. But it feels like we need to have an awareness that this is not, they keep talking about 100-year this, 1,000-year this, floods, hurricanes, fires, whatever. Oh, and that leaves the impression behind for those of us who are trying to decide how to adjust our lives that we don't need to change anything because it's not going to happen again in our lifetime. And so the thing that I'm becoming more aware of is I think that's false. I think that assumption and that it is not serving us. And wherever you are in the world, we'll see what the cards say. This is Suzanne the Human. You might want to look around at how close are you to water? How close are you to, we are literally on the New Madrid fault line for earthquakes. We've never had earthquakes, but that could be a possibility. Volcanoes, the volcano situation feels really like a lot of energy around volcanoes, and water waves, tsunamis, all of it feels, when I lean in psychically, and I know a lot of my friends who are psychic, just feels like the earth is not business as usual, like not the status quo is what I'm getting claircognitively. So there we go. There's an answer claircognitively. Let's see what the cards say. Is extreme weather our new norm, and will we need to adjust? Fathering and responsibility. I'll show you that. This feels like a card of preparation. They're drawing me to the bird on the limb. What does this mean? What are you trying to tell us about this? The bird on the limb is not... Okay, so you don't normally see a bird sitting on a limb. Okay, look at this with me. All right, use your Clair sentences. Tell me what you're saying. Okay, can you see this little, right about there? There's a bird sitting on a limb looking at the man and the child. Just hanging out. Look at him. That doesn't normally happen in nature, right? So they're drawing me to that with the energy of changing norms. Changing norms. So I'm reading this as a yes card, that are what our expectations and our norms, our weather records are going to be changing, and to the extent that you can adapt, which is actually what this child is doing. The child is learning how to climb a tree. It's learning how to do a new task. To the extent that you can learn and adapt in your environment, I think that's a really good idea. We have a little place next to the river. We call it the Stream Shack. It's not quite a house. It's lovely. It doesn't even have heat, or it does have a toilet. I insisted on a toilet, and it flooded. It didn't get washed. It wasn't in the big flood. It didn't get washed away in the last two floods. So we went in and pulled out all of the sheetrock all the way around at about 30 inches and put in metal for like roof metal and closed cell insulation and drain holes in. And so our hope is next time it floods, see how I'm changing my words, because when you don't accept this is a 100-year flood, or this was a rare event, then you don't prepare. So Next time it floods, and I'm going to send good energy into that timeline, please let it not come up to our little stream shack. But if it gets in the stream shack, we're hopefully just going to be able to spray it out with a high pressure water hose and get the mud out, because we're not in the current usually, and so it's this nasty kind of brackish water. So that's the kind of adapting I'm talking about. Look around at your environment and decide, do I really want to live right on the ocean? Would 10 miles in be just as nice, and I can go to the ocean and visit? Think about those things, and think about how you would do things differently if it wasn't a 100-year event, if it wasn't something you're not going to see again in this lifetime. So yeah, all right. So there's my reading. Politically, we went through weather and the U.S. economy. And we learned about iceberg calving, and we also talked about some things in the Middle East. So I hope that blessed you, and I hope that you feel like you have some things to think about and talk to with your spirit team. And I'll be back next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.